It's J.J. Inigbari.
Walks it up, looking for Kelly. Touchdown! Can you believe it?
And now it's time for some Gamecock football.
There's never been more excitement about South Carolina football than there is right now.
I've heard all the stories of the great George Rogers out back in 1980. He made the whole nation holler. And I've seen that photograph of young Steve Tannehill up in old Death Valley signing his name on the field. Yeah, and I love the year 2001 if it Williams, Bryce, or Ross. Oh, what else can I say? I'm just a big old car. Well, you know I come from a long line of cocks just like me.
All right. It's Friday. Woo! It's Friday, and the Cocks are playing tomorrow. Oh, whoa, whoa.
The night game.
Everybody remember The Cure back in the day? All those sad songs, like I guess in the 90s or 80s and 90s. And then one day, that girl he sung about, every one of those songs was about one girl, right? And Michael Smith, I think, was his name. One day, it was like they got together finally, right? And he's like, I'm not sad anymore. I don't think I'm going to write any more music. And then, as a lot of artists did, they used to be able to, I guess, live off of their royalties when people will buy records and stuff because people were buying CDs, records, whatever. Well, everything went to streaming, and these guys stopped making money. That's why Guns N' Roses went back on tour. They're down to their last million,
Yeah, right.
And so now The Cure is back touring. And I kind of wonder, I'm like, he's happy now. They're married, Very average-looking girl, too, in my opinion. But she's British, so who knows? Welcome to Inside the Gamecocks, the show. I'm JC Sherber. This is Phil Mullinax.
Yeah,
it's Friday.
Up with some Robert Smith and The Cure. Let's go.
I said Michael Smith, didn't I? I get Michael Sipe from REM and Robert Smith from The Cure mixed up. But yeah, big fan back in the day. And then I read the story and I was like, it's kind of cheeseballish. But anyway. Michael Flint coming up second hour. We're going to preview the Gamecocks and Vandy. Do a little different this week, Phil. Mm-hmm. And chat boxers and tweeterers because we have a contest going for the prediction. So just put a poll up on the Big Spur that said, will the Gamecocks win, yes or no? The yeses are up like 12-4, I think. Just put it up there. So be sure to check that out. And you guys in the chat box can give me your predictions. And then we're going to have a trivia question for you guys later. Since we've got the Twitter thing going with Sawyer and all that, I wanted to kind of share the love with you guys prize-wise a little bit. So I wanted to have a trivia question here in a little bit, and we will get you out a prize pack as well. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that. Right there. A little barbecue sauce and barbecue rub from Billy G's and all that good stuff. Gamecocks our 7-point favorite. Kind of in the middle of the show yesterday, started talking to some folks, getting some info about Lloyd. Look, man, I know Beamer says he's questionable. I hope he plays, but you know how injuries go around here. And I think questionable probably means out. But my contact yesterday said, look, it's up in the air. Beamer says questionable. So I'm like, well. I do think there's a chance Jaheim Bell will start at running back. People think that's kind of nuts, but I started thinking about it, Phil. You've got on paper coming into the season, you had some depth at running back. It was expected Lloyd would be one and Christian Bill Smith would be two. Bill Smith hasn't been healthy, and he doesn't look healthy. He looks a step slow, isn't hitting the hole as hard. You got to admire the daggum run he had against A&M where he drug half the team inside the 5 and then scored a touchdown on the next play. He's got 4 touchdowns this year, hadn't even hit 100 yards rushing. If you're going to run inside, you can't really, ride Juju McDowell on the inside all that much. You need a bigger guy. I don't know what the heck's going on with Rashad Amos. Maybe they need to play him a little more. Maybe they're mad at him for fumbling. Maybe he's not part of the rally packages or the personnel or the non-rally packages. I know he plays special teams. Dante Little Turbo Miller would be a guy I would try to get in there. He's good. I don't care if he's a walk-on that played at Columbia last year. He's fast. He's got good balance. He's got good vision. And then I don't know much about Lavassier Carroll other than, he was going to probably need a year to transition back to running back.
Yeah.
Somebody on the Big Spur just went off on all these guys. They're just not that good. If we don't know by now that personnel usage leaves a lot to be desired around here,
Right.
I don't know what to tell you. Let's not start bashing guys that just got here just because they're not coming into play. But, so we'll see what happens with that. I kind of look at Vandy's pass defense, Phil, and I say, well, they should probably go back to and somebody on the message board today called it the spray and pray offense they used against Arkansas.
Spray and pray.
Spray and pray.
That's great.
I was like, well, does that mean Juice Wells is going to get a pass deep and down the middle? Because we haven't seen that since then. I mean, it only went for a touchdown, and then they threw another pass up the sidelines to him for a 30-yard gain, another 30-yard gain. And people forget he's on the team. I haven't confirmed this completely, but remember everybody's talking about the sheer number of plays in this playbook. I heard it's triple digits.
Jeez.
Dude. Whereas I think in Oklahoma they had 30.
Yeah. I think I heard intimated somewhere that pre-snap there were like 6 reads that had to be made for the plays too on some of them.
That's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awful. And so I go back and I start doing some research. And, next time an offensive coordinator comes in here, instead of just getting on the bandwagon, I think I'm gonna because on paper, you hear this. Oh, this guy was in the NFL. He coached for Matt Rule. He did some good things with Cade Thompson, who was one of Spurrier's first quarterback recruits here that transferred up to Chattanooga, and he did a good job with him. And B.J. Coleman, those guys. And I was like, well, maybe at Temple they were just kind of a defensive team the first few years.
Mm-hmm.
But then you start to look into it. P.J. Walker was the quarterback at Temple during that era, and they had to bring in a new quarterbacks coach. And Walker, praised him for getting him right and talked about how, Glenn Thomas was the guy who I think was the OC at Arizona State under Herm before he got fired, and praised him for this he's made my decision-making a lot easier. I'm not as confused. All right, red flag number 1. Red flag number 1 there. And, so I next time I think I'm going to start going back and reading what players say to the media about the guy and some things like that. I think that when this all ends, and I think it'll end at some point, obviously, I don't want to get into when I think it will, but it'll end just like anything. And they move on. I'm looking at production, not necessarily a name. There's some folks that are under the impression that, the reason he's not good is because he's never coached in the mighty SEC. Man, there's a lot of bad coaches that have coached in the SEC on offense over the years. Let's not make that a criteria, and I started looking around at some guys, Brian Ellis, who somebody mentioned in the Nana Sports chat box the other day, is at Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern historically was a triple option team. Jeff Monken, who's at Army, was there. They've run that triple option when they've been good. most of the time. And it's a storied program. They used to win, 1AA national titles and stuff. Well, old Clay Helton, who got ran out of Los Angeles, he took that job and hired Brian Ellis, who's the co-OC at Western Kentucky. And they're 11th in the nation in total offense, 500 yards a game, and also beat Nebraska and sent Scott Frost packing.
Yeah.
So, and so I would almost, some people have mentioned Scott Frost or a guy like that. About the only former head coach, and I'd need to see a list of former head coaches just to see who may work and who wouldn't. Like if a miracle, let's just say for some reason Dan Mullen wants back in because he's all full of piss and vinegar from getting fired and wants to come to South Carolina and call plays for Beams, I'd take that.
Yeah,
I think he's an elite play caller, and especially when he just focuses on doing it, right? Doesn't have to worry about being a head coach or recruiting or anything like that. People don't like his personality, but let's just say personality obviously isn't a criteria for being the offensive coordinator at South Carolina under Shane Beamer. I look at a guy like that. You look at a guy like Graham Harrell at West Virginia. Some people said, well, why not Neil Brown? Why not Neil Brown? Why not Graham Harrell? I think Graham Harrell is a heck of a coordinator. They're not bad because they can't run the ball or, all that. They're just not playing very good defense this year. West Virginia is just not very good, period, this year. Somebody like that, I think that's kind of what you're looking at. Now Harrell is a name and is a sitting Power 5 coordinator, so we'll see. The guy at Tulsa's good. The head coach at Tulsa may be a guy, Philip Montgomery. And by the way, my other point on offense, and not to disturb you folks. So The Athletic, if you have a subscription, they have a bunch of stories about Josh Heupel's offense at Tennessee and what it is. The word that is most used to describe it? Simple. They do it really fast. And we've been sitting here talking about Spurrier's offense and what's called option routes for receivers. Yeah. Lethally almost, that's what they do. Like, because you'll sit back there and you'll be like, well, Hooker's got, he usually has time and he'll just hang in there. And then boom, somebody's wide open. That's because the receivers are taught to. It's not like Spurs where it's like cover one, cover two. It's based kind of a lot of concepts are on man in some zone because a lot of teams try to man up Tennessee. And it's basically just drive your guy off and then run to where he's not.
Yeah,
which I think, and a lot of the times that's down the field. They do a lot of cool stuff that's really simple, but yeah, they confirmed in that whole article that they interviewed a defensive coordinator, said that's peak Art Briles at Baylor. He's like, that's the close. Heupel does some different things than Briles because he's always evolved. And they mentioned Arkansas and they mentioned Ole Miss also had some stuff like that in it in Oklahoma, but he was like that. What Heupel does is the closest thing to that.
Yeah.
And they said, and Hooker is the closest thing to RG3 that offense has had. So that's a little, I don't know. For me, in my own personal opinion, I think that's kind of vindicates me because, number one, I guess I wasn't paying attention to Heupel and the Levy thing and the Browse thing at UCF. I just saw they went 6-4. And I never liked his offense at Missouri, and that was a little different. And I guess it just got lost on me. So I feel like an idiot in terms of what I said about the Heupel hire. But then second, I think I'm a little vindicated because I've said for a couple of years now that the Art Briles system in the SEC is very, very intriguing because it's a system that allows you to run the football in addition to going super duper fast. I think it's superior to what Mississippi State does. I think Art took that and kind of evolved it at Houston. I remember the Gamecocks played Houston in the Liberty Bowl. Those jokers were hard to stop. Carolina won 44-36 in the 06 Liberty Bowl. So, So that's it. It is a Braille system. So I've been right. I've been kind of worried maybe I wasn't right, but people that know ball actually reinforce that, and so I'm pretty happy about that. So, yeah, somebody from that system, let's go.
Yeah, bring it on.
Let's go. Let's go. Do
Easy
it.
and yeah. Simple and effective. Yeah, imagine.
I can't guarantee that that's what's going to happen, but I think the Gamecocks need a college offense and something that's fun to play in and easy for players to learn. I keep getting back to it. The scheme Ellis Johnson ran on defense at Carolina was the same one he ran at Spartanburg High School. He just did it really fast.
Just do it quick.
I mean, you just don't have time to teach all this stuff. But anyway, triple-digit playbook needs to go out the door. Heck, Kendall Browse, when he was coaching with Lane Kiffin at FAU, he didn't even have a playbook. There was no playbook.
No.
It was that easy to learn. And it looks like something out of outer space when you're like looking at the formations and how they're throwing it all over the place and you're wondering how you get people open and stuff. And it's really that simple. They just do it really fast and they master it and they give, those option routes to me. That was impressive because I've been sitting here talking about that in Spurrier's offense. So, it'd be like Steve Spurrier running this gigantic wide open spread that stretches the entire field. And half the time, Phil, they were breaking their film down. Half the time, Tennessee will go 5 wide, and 2 of their receivers won't even leave the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, they stay right there. I've seen that. Yeah,
They don't, and because it doesn't require you to read the field as a quarterback. How great would that be with Spencer Rattler?
Yeah, really simply it for you.
Yeah, it's just like, wow, well, what are they doing?
Mm-hmm.
And they just takes guys out of the box, and then if you do stop their pass, they'll just run it on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, they figured it out, so we'll do something different now.
I think I don't like South Carolina's chances of victory against the Vols coming up at all. If the Gamecocks are better on offense, there's always that team that may have a good plan to keep them off the field, but they're just in a zone, and Hooker's remained healthy and upright. And I don't know, man, they're going to give Georgia some problems this week.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm interested to see what Todd Monken draws up. Because I think he's the key to this. Everybody's like, well, how do you stop Tennessee? What kind of defense are you going to put together? I was like, the key to stopping Tennessee is how effective your offense is.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ball control.
Maybe that means
we're going to score. You can't stop it.
That means when you're inside the 5 and down 14, it may not be time to bust out the one-play joiner package that never works.
Yep. No.
And then
or put the hands in a defensive edge player who's never
Jordan Birch. Looked like Jared Lorenzen out there throwing the ball. R.I.P. Jared Lorenzen, the Pillsbury throw boy, by the way. He passed away recently. Former Kentucky quarterback who's 290 pounds. So Keith says he doesn't like fat ex-quarterbacks.
What about when they were already fat?
What about the Pillsbury throw boy, Dante Culpepper, or famous Jameis? Nana Sports. By the way, Nana Sports chat box. Sorry to keep you guys waiting. Krieger says on to Vandy.
Yep.
Hutch hashtag we want Amos. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, they asked Shane about Amos. He said he's doing good. He's been playing special teams. He's appeared in 7 games this year. I mean, maybe he's not healthy. I know that he was injured a good chunk of the year last year until the end and had a red shirt. Nobody ever said anything about it. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like the Xavier Legette mystery in 2020. Bubba was like, oh, by the way, yeah, he's had an injury since the Vanderbilt game and has missed the whole year. Doc says, go Cox beat Vandy, morning all. Jared says, ring that bell. Tim says, let's go. Cynical Aries, morning Doc and all. Krieger says, my buddy's staying in the hotel that looks out over Vandy's field. Pretty cool view. Yeah, I have some experience in that hotel. We had a Rivals.com convention there one year. We had like a party there one year in the little sports bar that's right there. There's another hotel beside the Marriott that actually overlooks the hotel. And I stayed there in 2004 with my buddies when I came up for the Vandy game. Well, yeah, pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff.
That's neat. Mm-hmm.
Adam says, "Happy Friday, my dude." Seth says that intro gives me life. Aaron says Amos is having a coming out party or what? 4210 big old Cox. Krager says Robert Smith. I know. Quantrell, have you heard anything about Edwin Joseph in South Carolina? Heck of an athlete, plays both sides. They'd like to get him on campus and shoot their shot. Talking to a good contact this week, just kind of about recruiting right now, there's just really not that much left. I mean, until they go hit the portal. They've actually, we're on to Vanderbilt, we're on to Cincinnati, we're on to the portal. Mm-hmm. You got Nick Harbor out there, and then a few other guys, Elijah Davis, of course. And they'd love to get Edwin Joseph. I just don't know. Guys like that are kind of late offers that have a lot of other offers. Quantrell, I usually just go, well, until they get him to visit, get on campus, get an official going, it's probably a long shot. Hey, Cavalier says, good morning, gents. Let's get the dub tomorrow. I'm hoping for a much more focused, better executed, and physical team in the Gamecocks. Cox 35, Vandy 20. Doc says Spotify gutted what was left of the music business, and it showed. It all kind of started with this thing called Napster and iTunes. Remember Napster?
Not to mention the record companies were the ones making all the money back in the day. That's, bands always made their money off touring because most of them didn't own the rights to their songs.
I know. John says, morning from the stormy Pac Northwest. It's a little overcast and rainy here today, too. Let's get her done tomorrow and go bowl at 33-13. Cox over Doors. J-Rock says, I hope for Jaheim's sake he has a big game. 6 catches, 150 yards, 5 rushes, 50 yards, 3 total touchdowns. Man, that would be nice. I think the guy's going to get more than 5 carries.
Yeah, something tells me he's going to carry the ball a lot.
I just now whether or not that's going to work, I don't know. And just like anything, when you're running the football, and I don't know that I'd call Jaheim a natural running back. I think if he gets a full head of steam, though, and as a whole, he's explosive enough to make some big plays.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But just like anything, you put a guy in for a play and you give him a carry and then you take it back out, you're not getting him rocking and rolling. Because Clint did say, I don't love the idea of Bell playing a lot of snaps at running back. And I think based on the sample size we've seen of him at running back, I'm with you. But I'd see if he can't get lathered up. If not, man, they have to go. If Bill Smith isn't rolling, and Shane Beamer did say he's healthy this week, but you don't know. He hadn't really looked great all year.
No, just a couple 3 plays where he's flashed, and then other times he just looked like he's just not quite there yet, Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, yeah. So if he's not ready, and you don't want to keep running Juju up the middle, I think it's fine. I'm not saying never run Juju inside because sometimes he'll squirt through there and get some yards, but you need to primarily use him on the perimeter and all that. Krager says I'd sit Lloyd and get him ready for Florida. Bell played running back in the spring game, every down 2 years ago. He did, and he looked good. And I thought we'd see a lot of that during the season. And then he had a 67-yard touchdown run called back against Eastern Illinois, and I don't think he carried the ball again until, significantly until the bowl game. Philip says time for the rally package. That's something you can get on my mom had a Cooper Mini. Mini Cooper
car thing.
You get the rally package on the Cooper Mini Cooper, because she had it. It said it said rally package. I'm like, ooh, mom, rally. Fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, rally package. Anyway, he says if anyone has any information in regards to Rashad Amos, please call Shane Beamer. Rodney's predictions in. Good morning, y'all. Vandy 28, Carolina 16. Rodney's super positive today.
Feeling it.
Philip says Vandy 20-16. It's a tough scenario. On one hand, you'd like to play a lot of different guys, Clint says, but on the other hand, that doesn't give guys a chance to get lathered up, so to speak. Yeah. Well, when your offense is designed only to run 50-something plays, which Satterfield stated it was, now his math is weird because he would have gotten 7.3 yards per play if that's the case. Mm-hmm. But when your offense isn't designed to run a lot of plays, and you have it's hard. You can't play everybody. Mm-hmm. But you should play your best players.
Right. Yeah. More. Yeah. You should have them on the field more often.
Yeah. That's not a playbook. It's a novel. Clint says, Roddy says 576 playbook. Shane Beamer needs to be ashamed of this mess he hired. That's not 576 plays. Triple digits there. Blake says Beamer really screwed this hire up. He can't do it again. Yeah, and look, here's my thing. Everybody makes mistakes in this business.
Not everybody you pick is a winner.
J-Rock has a good point here. Attack the perimeter, misdirection runs and counters. Yeah, I didn't see a whole lot of throw the ball inside the hash, just get it deep to Wells, get Bell in mismatches against linebackers and smaller DBs. That's a good game plan. Yeah, I don't think we'll see any of it.
Makes too much sense.
Whatever you think or anyone thinks, it's probably going to, because I think there's some overthinking that takes place with this thing too, because it's like the conventional wisdom is never present. It's like, let's trick them. We're going to trick them. We're going to put in 5 new plays. We're going to put like, where the hell's the wishbone? I mean, we saw the wishbone.
Once, twice. I know. I mean, that's what because for me, it just makes sense to have to carry on Joyner back there on a bit more snaps, and just kind of sprinkle him in, give Vandy a taste of their own medicine, like they did with Mike Wright. It's like, stop this.
Yeah, but I think Phil on that, it's a package, not a play.
See, that's you
it's
can't
not just a one. Just don't put him in there once. I mean, that's never ever worked. But you give him a few.
No. Yeah, because everybody knows where the ball's going to go. It's just going to stay in his hands and go. Yeah, but no, you got to put him out there for a drive. But because then you could have a mobile quarterback, a running back, Jaheim Bell, and Juice, out on the edge all at the same time.
Yeah,
and then you're like, okay, who are you going to defend? But maybe that's overthinking the overthinking.
I have no idea.
It's a whole freaking mystery, man. Until we get in there, Navarro.
Dude, I like the fact that they Tennessee only runs like 5-6 plays. The best offense in the country. Adam says I'd be more than happy if we were on Bobo back. Blake disagrees. Says we can do much better. Also says 24-13 Gamecocks, we win in spite of our offense once again. Van returns a punt for a touchdown. A DQ gets a pick 6.
That'd be nice.
76 says, can us fans just vote to put Sat in the portal? Dear baby Jesus.
Here's the good thing about it is nobody's going to have to get fired. His contract expires.
It does. Interesting point about that, though, Phil. His contract ends. It's actually a favorable contract for South Carolina. Ray Tanner did a good job, but this one, it ends December 31st. So most assistant coach contracts go through like June, so they get paid for the whole academic year. He's on the semester plan.
He's on the semester plan.
He's just a semester guy, first semester. There'll be another somebody else in here teaching this class by spring. Thank God. Arthur says, JC and Phil, do you know the Gamecocks are 9 for 25 throwing the ball vertically beyond 15 yards with a touchdown and 5 interceptions?
Well, I didn't know that specifically, Arthur, but it doesn't surprise me.
And they've only thrown it more than beyond 15 yards with Spencer freaking Rattler 25 times in 8 games.
Right. Yeah.
Where are all the shots? Anyway, I'm sure some of those were sacked. There's nobody, and it's not like either. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. No, I see what you're saying. Is like you don't know how many times protection broke down and that play was called and things like that.
Yeah, but I don't know. Saunders says, 76 says Art Briles at South Carolina. I'll allow it. Yeah, these days, man. I mean, Art Briles went to Southern University, was it Southern or Grambling? No, I'm sorry, it's Grambling.
Yeah, Grambling, yeah.
And Grambling really could have used him, in that league and all that. And everybody just went nuts about Art Briles getting a job. And so Grambling had to cancel him.
Yeah.
Saunders says not Art. Kendall's probably not coming here. I'm just going to tell you.
It's like I saw a lot of people talking Jamie Chadwell on the internet, last night tweeting about it during the game, and I'm like, we'd missed that boat has sailed because if Jamie moves, he's taking a head coach job somewhere.
Yeah. Krager says, I like how Hooker gets the snap, takes a short drop, stands still for a few seconds, and let it rip. It's cool looking because they protect his butt, and the defense can't load up the box. Well, and also, Craig, he's waiting on the receiver to make a decision as to where he goes, according to this article, which I think is kind of smart. Put it on your receivers, man. Mm-hmm. I think it's easier for receivers to process a lot of times at the college level than it is a quarterback because, the receivers just have to beat their guy or get open and figure it out downfield. The quarterback, he's got to worry about getting sacked and all kinds of stuff. And they don't make him read the whole field. 76 says, I do like to go fast, JC and Phil. Ricky Bobby's dad taught me to embrace that. It's a cougar. It's a live cougar. Colin says, Bobo's trash. That's not true. He's the best play caller you've had since Spurrier left. No dogs. I don't want anyone with deep connections to other East teams. West is fine. I see your point there.
Yeah, I can get that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Clint says, offer Kendall 7 figures and a fancy title and make him say no. He ain't coming. Because all Arkansas is going to do is say, all right, we're going to pay you even more.
Yeah. Okay.
Spurrier, shoot, I ain't doing much these days. I think I'll go down to Carolina and call plays, see what Beams thinks of the fun and gun. I don't know if Spurrier can still do it now, but I'll tell you this, that year he had with the Orlando Apollos, he sort of evolved a little bit. He's like, I've been drawing up some new ball plays, and they worked.
And they worked,
He made Garrett Gilbert is look like refried butt, a lot of the time, before he went to SMU and finished up, flamed out at Texas or whatever. So here's Garrett Gilbert. And Spurrier made him into a star in that league. And then all of a sudden, Spurrier, one day walks to the meeting. He's like, well, shoot, we're not going to be able to play because nobody can pay us. So it looks like the league's going to fold. He's like, well, we're going to make a trophy and say we're the champions.
Yeah, we're the best team. Yeah. They did have the best record before the league folded.
Justin said after the CCU game, I think if we hired Willie Corn, he could get production out of this offense. I tend to agree. A lot of times you want to avoid guys that work for the guy, but I'd probably have to recuse myself from the Willie Corn conversation because I know him and I know his brother. My mom taught his brother. He's an old Burns guy. He's like, I'll take Art out of a North Korean league if that's where he was, but Kendall would be nice too. Philip says, my perception of the weakness on the Heupel offense, if you have better players on the D-line who will win one-on-ones, the offense doesn't have a ton of answers. Alabama has pretty salty D-line. I think it's hard to get to him.
Yeah.
Rally pack.
He can move.
Craig says, Matt, my fiance goes, stop saying rally package clown. Big Slam of Jamma 27-17 Carolina. Beamer will right the ship. I'm on the chain train for the long haul. Yeah, that's true. I think everybody's entitled to a screw up. It's an unfortunate one. But, that's it. I think Corn could be a good OC. They don't sub a lot, can run tempo or grind clock. Playmakers get the ball. Yep. That's the deal. Get your ball to your players. I don't think Chadwell would leave. RB, I agree with this from RB. Chadwell's a good fit at Georgia Tech. Yes. And Willie's got a lot of other backgrounds too with prolific offenses. Unfortunately, he did play for Rob Spence at Clemson. By the way, the parallels between Rob Spence and Marcus Satterfield are uncanny. Somebody uncovered an old Dabo article and was talking about Spence, and he's like, we need to make it about players, not so much about plays. And then Tony wrote that yesterday, make it about players and not about plays. So anyway, kind of a sluggish start to the show today. I feel kind of mellow. I shouldn't have started off talking about the Cure. That was dumb. It wasn't good, JC. You shouldn't have mentioned me because I'm not sad anymore because it's Friday. and I'm a scrub. Oh. All right. 6 minutes over a break here. I got to go like splash water on my face.
I didn't even notice that, though. I mean, at least it was rolling along.
I'll say this. Arthur mentioned Sean Lewis, the Kent State head coach. He's going to be a head coach really soon, man, but he's good. If he was you want to go overpay for him and get him, I will drive to Kent, Ohio in the 2005 Ford Explorer I'm currently driving.
Talk about doing more with less.
Smells like burning oil. I will go drive, pick him up, bring him in. RB says, I like corn. You can't take a shot on him. You have to go with somebody established. I agree, but it doesn't have to be a name. Right?
Somebody that's got a good track record, but it doesn't have to be recognizable.
Everybody loves Phil Longo. Hugh Freeze hired Phil Longo from Sam Houston State. So there you go. All right, taking a break. My mouse needs to charge too, so that's good. And we'll be back with continuing with predictions and all that good stuff here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Just as your State Farm agent combines good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates, you can combine your home, auto, life, or small business insurance with Tony Pope State Farm Insurance today. And guess what you'll get? That's right, even more good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. In fact, Tony Pope State Farm is your go-to agent anywhere in South Carolina, North Carolina, or Georgia for the service you deserve at the price you want. So try combining your home, life, auto, and or small business insurance today. Tony Pope State Farm has been in business for more than 30 years and can handle anything you need in the tri-state area. Once again, Tony Pope State Farm will help you mix and match perfectly. Call 843-851-2222 or visit tonypope.com today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
If you're a listener, you know I feel strongly that if you're in the upstate and are in need of real estate services, Cindy Searfoss is your go-to person. Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane can help you with any of your realty needs right there in the upstate of South Carolina, Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, Oconee, Pickens, wherever you are. Cindy can help you with that. She's married to a diehard Gamecock fan, has been in the upstate for more than 35 years. Right there in my hometown of Spartanburg, Daniel Morgan Avenue. Contact Cindy, 864-414-5271, or email csearfoss, CSEARFOSS, at cbcaine.com, CBCAINE. That's Cindy Searfoss, a proud sponsor of the Inside the Gamecocks podcast. Check her out. We've already gotten several emails from listeners that are very impressed with her professionalism and her ability to help you with your real estate needs. 864-414-5271, Cindy Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane.
If you're looking to sell or buy multifamily property right here in South Carolina, the Burgesson team of RE/MAX at the Lake can help you get to closing fast and easy. Adam and Derek Burgesson both are very proud Gamecocks and are more than happy to assist you with any of your commercial real estate needs all across the state. You can email Adam at aburgesson@remax.net. That's ABERGESON at remax.net to get your next deal underway. The Burgesson team, proud sponsors of Inside the Gamecocks.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Attention golfers of all ages and skill sets. Former Gamecock golfer Meredith Taylor will be a full-time golf instructor in the Midlands of South Carolina very, very soon. You want to take advantage of this opportunity. If you're like me and you got to get a whole lot better at golf, or even if you're looking to refine your swing, Meredith is the person you need to go to. She's competing in her final USGA Mid-Amateur Tournament this summer before going full-time into teaching and coaching individuals. If you're in South Carolina, Meredith will be conducting in-person golf lessons at the Country Club of Lexington. Half hour, on course. She'll play 9 or 18 with you. If you're out of state, though, this is really exciting. She'll be conducting virtual lessons. You can send in your swing for her expert analysis. Also, in November, she'll launch an online course with video instruction for all ages and skill levels. Meredith has 20-plus years of knowledge, former SEC golfer, all of that. So contact her on Twitter at @MERTaylor, at MERTAYLOR, or go to McKellarEnterprises.org. McKellar spelled MCKELLAR, Enterprises.org. Her email's on the website, so you can connect with her for any other questions. Go get your golf game in order. Take advantage of Meredith Taylor and her services.
What's up? This is Jaheim Bell with the Gamecocks, and you're now listening to Inside the Gamecock Show with JC and Phil.
Welcome back to Inside the Gamecocks show, everybody. The first hour of the show is brought to you by Cindy Searfoss at Coldwell Banker Kane Realty here in the Upstate. Give Cindy a call at 864-414-5271 for all your upstate residential real estate needs. And then reminding everybody that we do have a Twitter contest going on for a Carolina Rise prize package sponsored by Sawyer Nix. And just to remind everybody who has already sent in their score predictions for Saturday, remember to follow Sawyer Nix at Sawyer Nix on Twitter, as well as at the Big Spur Pod on Twitter. Those are the rules.
All right.
Just want to clear that up. Can't just send it to it and tag us. You got to tag us in it, as well as follow Sawyer's page and our page. That way you get all the updates from both.
Absolutely. Yeah, make sure you do that. Sawyer's a stickler for the rules. So make sure you follow the rules. So you got to follow Sawyer on Twitter. Just hit that follow button.
Yep, just hit the follow.
And you'll get the prize pack. I've got the trivia question coming up second hour. Inside the Gamecocks, I help consulting mailbag, inside the Gamecocks at gmail.com. Question comes in. All right, so Tristan sends a picture of Sat's playbook. The rally pack, not Sat's rally pack. It's a nice looking play. Tristan also sent me some quotes from the Temple days that were alarming. Isaiah has a question about recruiting. Hey, JC and Phil, hope both y'all are doing well. Had a recruiting question for you guys. Is the staff recruiting Troy Stevenson from Philip Simmons in Charleston for 2024? Want to know your thoughts on him. They've had him in camp. He's not good enough. I don't know why in the world anybody has him 4 stars. I guess it's just based on film. But he's a guy that they want to evaluate further. He's not a hard no, but he's not a layup like yes. Mm-hmm. And frankly, I trust Torian Gray and those guys on secondary guys. So he's just one of those players. I think maybe Notre Dame or somebody threw him a verbal offer, and so I guess based on that, right? They rated him high, but he's been to camp and visited and stuff. But that's right now he's a no for 2024. Soda City's in. He says JC and Phil. By the way, inside the Gamecocks at gmail.com for the I Help Consulting mailbag. I'm hopeful that Shane has learned a bit from the last 2 years with this OC. Muschamp maybe needed to delegate a bit more. Yeah, no doubt. Muschamp was the recruiting coordinator, the special teams de facto coordinator, the de facto defensive coordinator. He coached safeties, and he's the head coach. You can't do all that, man. I mean, Nick Saban has his hand in everything and coaches defense, but we've all seen. I mean, Nick Saban's hours he keeps and stuff like that. I just don't know. And he's like, maybe Shane has to take a bit more control now. Shane's got control. He just, he's like with Muschamp, when something was going wrong with the defense, he could step in and fix it. That's not Shane's strong suit. He's definitely a CEO coach. I mean, I keep getting back to Dabo. He started taking over play calling. Down the stretch in 2010, and you can ask, you can ask some folks up there how that turned out. You know, now he's still got the play sheet, you know, and he's still firing suggestions, but he's not that kind of guy. You know, and that's what Shane's like his dad. He's just he's a special teams coordinator. He coached other positions, knows about both sides of the ball, but his job is to hire good coordinators and let them do their job. And so that's and when they're not, I think that's when you run into something like this, it's, and my feeling too is if there's a change made, I think it's probably heading in that direction, right? I think
one would certainly hope.
If there, let's say there's more than one staff opening, you may even go with a guy that's got experience calling plays at one of the position groups or something. I mean, just in case you come run into this again, God forbid. Mm-hmm. He goes, I'm not super into press conferences, but the responses that he who must not be named gives are a pretty obvious case of a guy who isn't ready for the job. And then Soda City says something about his rally package, and it's not as big as he think. Never mind.
Anyway, but here, it is the thing about Satterfield's press conferences is they are consistently incongruent with what actually happens on the field.
Well, and what's funny is Shane will say one thing on Tuesdays, and then he'll say something totally different on Wednesdays.
I know.
Joseph rolls in there. He says, I completely understand cutting ties or waiting when you're going to terminate someone or separate from the job. Everybody is different, but how do you keep the fire and focus of game planning when you know you're definitely going to be gone at the end of the year? Also, if the players know it, they're going to tune you out. That's when Spurrier retired, he made a good point about that. He's like, I didn't want a farewell tour because once they know the coach is leaving, they stop listening to you. And that's the truth. I mean, that's just human nature. Also, how does it affect the players that have to execute when they question if the coach will be back and don't support his plans anyway? Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, and that's the reason that there's not this big change right now. Yeah. You lose this weekend, I think the whole thing gets turned on its head. And like Jamie Bradford said earlier this week that you may just want to go ahead and cut it, cut it off. But then there's the question of who takes over, and there's 3 games left, and you can get really, really embarrassed badly in all 3 and finish. I mean, so what do you do? It's a tough situation, but that's you're right about the wisdom as far as not doing it right now. Barron says, breaking my rule again, reading Sat's comments today. I can't believe to wrap my head around them. Bell's not in the turbo package. That's the rally package, sir.
Get it right, Bear.
Get it right, Bear. Get it right, man. No. We're still early in our tenure with this offense and where we want it to be. Yeah, that quote right there, early and figuring out where we want it to be, that was damning.
Yeah.
Because
it sounds like a guy that was just completely disconnected from reality.
Yeah, you got triple-digit playbooks. Everybody looks confused. Come on, man.
Come on.
Yeah. I want to get the ball to Jaheim Bell as much as possible, etc. He goes, truly mind-blowing. That is all. Yeah, yes. Bear, you're not wrong.
Nope.
The Bear. Oh, man. Hey, speaking of mind-blowing, I wanted to mention this. I don't want to give this Twitterer too much credit, okay? Or even tell you who it is. But there's like one of these, I guess, fake Gamecock media Twitter outlets out there. It look like a media outlet, but it's not. And
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, and there's some of these guys out here that have like Instagram accounts and stuff that work really hard. They don't have websites or anything like that, but they kind of brand themselves as coverage or whatever. They work really hard, put really good graphics up, and there's some folks out there that have Twitter accounts that are really good and they work hard and super duper, and they get emotional like some of us, like the rest of us, But this one of them has decided to tweet to Satterfield's wife, Sarah Satterfield. I want to encourage everyone not to do that because I think, number one, it makes you a loser and borderline psychotic. Mark Satterfield's wife has nothing to do with how he does his job, right? Neither does his family, his kids, anything like that. That's crossing a huge line, in my opinion. I just want to, and I don't think, actually, Gamecock Twitter, the Gamecock Twitter ecosystem, actually handled it really well. There was one guy with Fire Sat in his where his picture should go on Twitter. It said Fire Sat, and he called this clown out. So just call stuff like that out. Look, it's a tough enough situation. It's not personal. It's about business. It's about the business is college football, and that's what it is. And Sat's not doing anything personally to you, and his wife's certainly not. His kids certainly aren't. And that goes for any coach that comes through here, man. It's just not good. Not
doesn't reply to just her putting up a picture of her own family. I mean, listen, it's ridiculous. It's the same type of loser mentality who tweets at a commit, or a recruit rather, who doesn't commit to your school.
Yes.
You're changing nothing.
They're not your friends.
No, you don't know these
recruits,
people just because they're
not your friends. Yeah, you see it on Twitter. Oh, come on. Yeah, like, hey, bro, brah. Hey, dude. Oh, hey, buddy. Listen, man, you just make the choice that's right for you, dude. I don't care where you go. I got your back forever. And then the kid commits to another school, and this same account goes, you're a know-nothing piece of whatever. And sometimes it gets a little uglier than that. I've seen that more with other programs than this one. But there are a lot of Gamecock fans out there who just can't help themselves from tweeting. Now, the guys that tweet at the kids when they talk about I got a decision coming up and they just tweet the Gamecock GIF or something, I don't have a problem with that. Because everybody else is doing that. That's fine. But don't act like you're developing a personal relationship with these guys. Don't hit them up on Facebook. Don't think you're an insider because you go ask them stuff on Facebook because they're probably lying to you. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, sneaking into their DMs and all that.
Yeah, don't slide up in anybody's DMs. I know you're excited and all that good stuff. But there's that. Jeff Fowler says the world we live in sad. Yeah, don't do it. But I will say this on that note. I did not know I was in the Sarah Satterfield Has Blocked Me fan club.
Are you?
I'm blocked. Yeah, I didn't know. I had no idea because I didn't follow her on Twitter. I had no idea, but I saw this commotion going on. So I go to hop over on her page, and she's got this thing up there about idiots, about listening to idiots. So I guess I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Which is actually sage advice, for somebody of her, position.
No,
I'm going to have to check mine now. Hold on, because I saw the tweet yesterday. I wonder if I'm in the club now.
I'll say this. I don't blame her. I would, if I were her, I would block everybody too. I would just block. Because you don't even want to hear it, man. Because, number one, you're not going to go back and forth and argue with them. It's tough enough as it is. And I would probably block. Not that I'm being ugly and I don't want to, I don't like you or anything like that. It's just that I want to tune out the noise and enjoy my Twitter experience. I bet she's got a block list because I know Brad Crawford's on it. I know who else is on it. Brad Crawford. I know Brad's on it and several other people.
Nope, I'm still in. I'm not in that club.
You're not in the club, Phil.
For neither of them.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't follow either of them, but I follow Satterfield, but not his wife.
Yeah.
Why would I follow a man's wife?
Yeah. Sat never tweets. Jeff Fowler said she did you a favor, JC. LOL. Yeah, I think for her own peace of mind, it's probably best. I haven't said very much about last year. I tweeted some really tough stuff about him being the worst OC in football, and I regretted that. That was probably during the Vandy game last year. I regretted doing that, and I think I eventually deleted it. But I haven't really said much this year. I'll send out vague stuff like this week. I was like, changes need to be made.
And
what does that mean? I could be talking about like looking at myself in the mirror and I'm eating too many cheeseburgers, and I'm like, changes need to be made. What does that mean? Changes need to be made.
Beers, yeah, and I'm like,
too many beers here. I got to make some changes. Changes in my life. Arthur says it's not personal for me. No, it shouldn't be. Cynical Aries says I'm not into Twitter full of woke pricks. Yep. Hate to see the Gamecocks messing with the family members of anyone. Honestly, it's the one fun thing to have in here. Yeah, and it's one guy. So I thought everybody else got all over, jumped this guy's butt. So, that's the thing there. 76 says never tweet recruits, family members, and stay away from messaging other people's wives. My gosh.
Really? Yeah.
Tristan with prediction of the day, 3-0 Vandy.
I was going to say 3-2 for a spoof.
Carolina Empire says, well, you weren't wrong. Nothing personal, but he is one of the worst OCs in college football. I think he's probably toward the bottom of Power 5.
Yeah, I mean, for those people who rank those kinds of things, it would be remiss to not have him down there at this point. Because what has he done?
I'm trying to think of who's worse in the SEC. Nobody. Because the Vanderbilt OC's done a really good job considering the talent he's got and the young players he's got. Missouri in there. You know who's second worst? Kentucky. I'll say that right now. That guy doesn't have a clue. He thinks he's in the NFL as well. And what's kind of funny is Mark Stoops and Shane Beamer both went down this path where they're like, we're going to be the Rams or we're going to be the 49 or we're going to be this. I don't think Shane thought that. I think Shane thought Joe Brady meets Lincoln Riley. But Mark Stoops, it amazes me that he got rid of Eddie Grand, who had a system that was working for them, even though they played a receiver at quarterback one year. They won 8 games. And he goes, you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to confuse the hell out of all my players and run a pro offense. And I don't think Kentucky's confused. I just think that they were better off with what Grant did, in my opinion. So Kentucky probably be 13th. Billy Napier would probably be 12th in my book.
Yeah, he's struggling
because he calls them all. I think that I just can't think of anybody worse.
Yeah, not in the SEC, but Carolina Empire brings up a really good point, and that Brian Ferentz is awful.
I am with you. Carolina Empire, there's someone in Power 5 that's worse than Marcus Satterfield.
Yep, I would.
Good mile. Arthur says, offer Sean Lewis $1.2 million and get out of the way. If he'd come for $1.2 million, like I said, I'll drive the family truckster over to Kent, Ohio, pick him up, and take him to Columbia in style. I'll rent a limo and have a case of beer in the back and some beautiful babies if that's what it takes. I think he's married, though. J-Rock says he's the worst OC that I can remember. Yeah, he is. There's been some
and that's saying something with the recent hires we've had.
Easy he says, I know we're about on offense, but Vandy's averaging 11.25 points against the SEC, worse than us, and our D is better. Yeah, I agree. I'm going to give a prediction. I think South Carolina's going to win the game.
Same. Yeah.
And I'm going to pick a probably surprising score. That said, with Vandy's offense, you have to look at the fact they've played Missouri, they've played Georgia, they played Alabama. Those are 3 really good defensive teams. They haven't gotten to Florida and those guys yet. But they did put some points on Ole Miss first half, and then Ole Miss just annihilated them. I mean, because it was during the Kentucky game, and my friend Margot was sitting there watching it on her iPad. Vandy got up 20-13 right before the half. Next thing you know, they put that final score at 52-28.
Yeah.
So, Gamecock face says Radler has lost his confidence in this system we are trying to run. Yeah, and they do nothing to get his confidence back. He does nothing to get it back. Clearly, the kid's better on the run. Clearly the kid's better rolling out of the pocket right now. Don't ever do that. Keith always likes to talk about the boots and waggles.
Boots and waggles. Yeah.
That kind of sounds like a daggone like a high school football themed country song or band. Hi, folks. We're Boots and Waggles. We're gonna play a little song called First Down. Yeah. Hope y'all are doing well. J-Rock says, do you think Missouri's D could give Tennessee a surprising challenge? They're so different than they were last year, J-Rock, when that was kind of the beginning of this whole Tennessee thing. Tennessee went to Columbia, Missouri, and scored 62. They were a 3.5-point underdog, and they just ran all over them, killed them. But Missouri's a little different this year. They've got they got rid of Steve Wilkes, sent him back to the NFL.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Steve Wilkes had a reason to be an NFL coach. He's been there for years, right? So you know, I guess if you're just there 1 year as an assistant to an assistant, that makes you, you know. Anyway, you know, I know. Is Flint in already? Is Flint in already?
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
He's here. Okay, yeah. I was like, but you know, they're so much better. So maybe, I don't know. I don't think Missouri's got the firepower to keep up with Tennessee. Michael Flint is in. We got his segment coming up, Wando's World. Here on the other side of the break, inside the Gamecocks, the show. We'll be back after these messages. If you're a listener, you know I feel strongly that if you're in the upstate and are in need of real estate services, Cindy Searfoss is your go-to person. Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane can help you with any of your realty needs right there in the upstate of South Carolina, Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, Oconee, Pickens, wherever you are. Cindy can help you with that. She's married to a diehard Gamecock fan, has been in the upstate for more than 35 years. Right there in my hometown of Spartanburg, Daniel Morgan Avenue. Contact Cindy, 864-414-5271, or email csearfoss, CSEARFOSS, at cbcaine.com, CBCAINE. That's Cindy Searfoss, a proud sponsor of the Inside the Gamecocks podcast. Check her out. We've already gotten several emails from listeners that are very impressed with her professionalism and her ability to help you with your real estate needs. 864-414-5271, Cindy Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane.
If you're looking to sell or buy multifamily property right here in South Carolina, the Burgesson team of RE/MAX at the Lake can help you get to closing fast and easy. Adam and Derek Burgesson both are very proud Gamecocks and are more than happy to assist you with any of your commercial real estate needs all across the state. You can email Adam at aburgesson@remax.net. That's ABERGESON at remax.net to get your next deal underway. The Burgesson team, proud sponsors of Inside the Gamecocks.
Hey man, are you sick and tired of your business computer guy?
Yes, he takes forever to call me back and doesn't always respond to the requests.
Yeah, same here. I'm paying him good money. I constantly have issues, and I'm worried he's not backing up my network and securing it properly.
Oh, I feel that, man. My head hurts, but I have a good lead on a good idea. I'm calling your boy Matthew Odom today from Heritage Digital. Heritage Digital is an IT firm that specializes in making sure your IT network runs like a dream. If you have 1 or 500 employees, it doesn't matter. They do it all for one monthly fee and have clients from South Carolina all the way to California.
Yeah, I heard that monthly fee's low too, so I don't know why I didn't even think of that. Do you have 843-699-1001 as Matt's contact number?
Yeah, man, I sure do that. Or you can go to heritagedigital.com.
Man, I hear they do a no-cost assessment. Boy, this will help me.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm getting on that and encouraging everyone else to do the same. Heritage Digital, 843-699-1001 or heritagedigital.com, a proud sponsor of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Hey folks, JC here. I've told you about Nana's Porch over and over again. They sponsor our chat box on the show. Don't take my word for it, though. I wanted you to hear from Gamecock pitcher Noah Hall about our sponsor, Nana's Porch. Nana'sPorch.com. Go there. Food truck, catering, whatever you need. Take it away, Noah.
What's up, Gamecock fans? This is pitcher Noah Hall. If you want some delicious food for your event, I suggest visiting nanasporch.com today to find out what they all have to offer, It's really good Southern cuisine based out of Charlotte, my hometown. I hope you guys go check it out. Go Cox and go Nanas.
Yep, time to get back to the show. Shoot. All right, my man.
And we're back, everybody, inside the Gamecocks, the show with J.C. Sherbert and Phil Mullinax. The second hour is brought to you by the Burgesson team at Remax at the Lake. Give Adam or Derek a call or shoot them an email at aburgesson, that's ABERGESON, at remax.net for your commercial or investment real estate needs. And we're joined by the McKellar Enterprises guest line by Michael Flint, none other. Missed you last week, Michael. Hope everything's all right.
Yeah, I had the Letterman golf tournament last week.
Nice.
It was we had a lot of fun, and I meant to text on the way up, and I forgot to hit the magical send button.
I've done that plenty of times, man.
the magical send button. I've done that before too. I'll go scrolling through, and I'll be like, I never sent this text. My God.
I mean, channeling my inner Herm Edwards, they always yelling, "Don't hit send."
Don't hit send. Well, Michael, very disappointing performance against Missouri last week. What are some of your takeaways with the offense? I mean, it seemed like with Lloyd out, they just couldn't get anything going. And Missouri's defense did play well, but it seemed like there just really wasn't a plan after that.
No, you're 100% right. And it's disappointing in so many different areas. This was a game that really could have changed the course of the season. I think for South Carolina, you look at the effects that it had. We go into the first week of the rankings, college football playoff rankings, where we would be a top 25 team. Kind of all the noise around the program is positive. There's a lot of people talking about the program, which directly affects recruiting and a lot of that. But just that game, it hurt because that was a game I felt like we should have won and really could have won. I think not having Marshawn Lloyd hurt, but it felt like Missouri was one step ahead of us the whole game. Offensively, defensively, it was clear that they knew what we were doing. And I think we just became too predictable on offense. I think we just tried to be too conservative. We didn't take a lot of chances. It was frustrating to watch a little bit. I think we could have done things to help Spencer. I think we could have done things to help the running backs. But overall, we were just too predictable. Missouri put us in too many, bad down and distance situations. And it just felt like they were one step ahead of us all game long, which was disappointing to see. So overall, this is one that I think we're going to look back on, and this one's going to hurt because I think having won this one, we really were set up for the rest of the season very nicely, but just couldn't get anything going offensively, and the defense just could not get off the field. I mean, those sustained drives that Missouri had, first off, it was impressive to watch the Missouri offense work because it felt like they knew what we were doing. Anytime we brought pressure, they knew exactly what to do. They kind of replaced it, as you say, where you bring pressure from, that's where you want to replace it. But, those long drives really hurt.
Spencer Rattler obviously struggled yet again. Going back into this weekend against Vanderbilt, Vandy's last in the SEC pass defense. But, it's hard for me, because I looked at the matchups with Kentucky and A&M, and I felt pretty confident. Hard for me to sit there and even go as lowly ranked as Vandy is defensively. I mean, they have played Ole Miss, Alabama, and Georgia. Hard for me to say it's going to be a get-right game. I guess I've lost faith in a little bit in the game planning and stuff. And I think, if Carolina's defense and special teams obviously shows up, they could probably have a nice win up there. I think they can win the game. I'm going to pick them to win the game. I'm going to bank on the defense and special teams showing up. But, at this point, Michael, Marcus Satterfield says this week they're still trying to figure out what exactly they are on offense, and it's only Spencer Rattler's first year. And I mean, that's kind of the same stuff we heard last year. I think people were willing to swallow it last year, but you're 21 games into a tenure.
Yeah, it was also Spencer Rattler's first year at Oklahoma playing when he threw for a freaking million yards, it seems like, in a system. But it is frustrating to hear that this deep into the season, especially when you've had the summer. you had last spring. I know there's new guys, but it shouldn't be this difficult. It shouldn't be this hard when you got a guy as talented as Spencer Rattler and you've seen what he can do historically to what he's doing this year. It is frustrating. And I think you kind of see like it is what it is on offense. But like I said, I've said it before, we've got to get him comfortable. And, you just don't see us utilize simple, quick game, slants, hitch, those kind of concepts. So even kind of shifting the pocket a little bit to get him comfortable. It was, against Missouri, it felt like every time he dropped back, there was pressure coming from somewhere. Whether it was offensive line breakdown, blitzes, things of that nature. But, he hasn't gotten comfortable all year. And I always feel like it's kind of that next game is where he's going to kind of find it. But, we've said that next game since the second game of the year. And we haven't found ways to get him comfortable. And I think it's going to be, it is what it is through the rest of the year. Hopefully he can find something, to help with getting comfortable in the pocket because we just haven't done that for him lately, whether it's shifting the pocket, getting him out on, bootleg play action, getting him outside the pocket where, he doesn't have as much pressure. But, I think kind of we are where we are at this point in the year. You can see a lot of the games that we've won, we've had big time special team plays. And I think that's what's going to have to happen this week is we're going to have to be really good on special teams. Special teams is going to have to create some sort of, turnover, score, put us in plus field position, something, because that's really where when we have success, it's because of special teams. And a lot of the games we've won are because of special teams. So getting back to special teams having success, but offensively, I know it's frustrating for everybody to see because we have the talent. Even with Marshawn Lloyd being out this week, the running back position is one position that doesn't worry me. Even not having Marshawn Lloyd, Christian Beal-Smith is a guy that's really good. He does all the little things well. He's very physical. You can give him the ball 20, 25 times a game and I feel like he just gets stronger. So, I liked seeing him being able to get his opportunity a little more this week with Lloyd being banged up. But like I said, we've been too predictable on offense to where we're almost playing against. It feels like there's 12 men out there rather than 11 at times. So, I think we are what we are. Just seeing what we do coming into the game, seeing how we get Jaheim Bell more involved. I know the frustration level with him not having as many touches as we'd like. So, I'd like to see us utilize the middle of the field as well. We haven't utilized that 10 to 20 yard area, especially with the play action. That's where the play action you can really be dangerous with play action because that's where you have those linebackers that are, play and run and they step up. They got to hold and they can't get back into space as quickly as you'd like. And that's where you want to get guys like Jaheim Bell the ball, Amari and Brown the ball, get them the ball in space and let them work. It doesn't have to be out of the backfield. It doesn't have to be at the line of scrimmage. Downfield, take your drop, take your steps, cut the ball loose. And that's another area I'd like to see us improve on is just getting the ball to our playmakers in the middle of the field, utilizing that 10 to 20 yard window, and really utilizing that play action game to get those linebackers, safeties more in the box and give us an extra step or two.
Yeah, I don't understand why that never happens. That's baffling to me. It looks like if and I agree on Christian Beal-Smith as long as he's healthy and ready to go. And Shane Beamer did say this week that he wasn't feeling great last week, but he says he's ready to go this week. It looks like they're going to play Jaheim Bell at running back. What do you think about that?
I do like that. He's shown that he can play. He can run the ball. He can do a lot of things. I think you got to be careful with how you utilize him in the backfield because there is a lot that comes along with being a running back. It's not just handing the ball off and running. There's a lot of responsibility in pass protection that you have to be accountable for. But it's utilizing him the right way and knowing, get him in the pass game out of the backfield, having him there, moving him around the formation because Vanderbilt's going to have to account for him. But I do like the fact that, getting him back there, getting him some touches out of the backfield, utilizing different kind of personnel packages with him and moving him around the formation. I think that's one thing we've kind of lost of over the course of the last couple of games is, moving him around because he's always got to be accounted for. He's a matchup nightmare. depending on where he is in the formation and what kind of personnel the defense chooses to use with him in the game, whether it's an extra linebacker or if it's a safety.
Yeah, I think one thing, Michael, that we've all kind of keyed in on is the personnel usage and the different packages that have been going in for certain plays and things like that. So if the directive comes down from Shane Beamer to Satterfield to say, okay, you got to get Bell the ball more, and they try to incorporate him into different personnel packages, how hard is that transition going to be for him just to function in a different, with different guys on the field and maybe running some different plays? Assuming that it's something that's just wildly different than what he's currently used to.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be too different as far as what he's done in practice. I just think that he hasn't been utilized as much as maybe he should. But I think a lot of the plays are there, and he knows what to do. I think with him, it's just not being so predictable with what we're doing with certain formations, with certain motions. When you bring guys across formation, a couple of games ago, consistently see that Nate Atkins comes in motion down the line, blocks the end guy on the line of scrimmage, whether it's a kick out block or lead. No, we just haven't come back to that and thrown the ball out of that look. It seems like all we've done is run the ball, and you can see the way we line up, the way we move guys around. You can see almost what we're doing, and it's a lot about game days is you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Things can't be going, and then you rely on the old plays that you're used to calling all the time, because defensive coordinators pick up on the trends and they pick up on that stuff watching film, week in and week out. And so almost like, it's being like, let's open the playbook up and call some things that we're not used to, because, kind of what we've been doing and working, and it's a lot of the same type of things that, Missouri picked up on. And it was, like I said earlier, Missouri was one step ahead of us. It was like they knew what we were doing before the play was even called. So, just being less predictable. I think, getting Jaheim Bell the ball, moving him around, building your offense off of what you do early on and setting up plays later on. And I feel like we haven't really done that a lot this year.
Yeah, I guess to that point, the good thing is Satterfield said there was a whole bunch of plays that we didn't run that we practiced all 2 weeks ago. So we'll get a whole nother week to practice and put them in.
And that's kind of what happens on game days is, bullets start flying, and, you start to rely on what and what you're used to calling, and you just get comfortable trying to get a play in. You can see, was it the first play of the second half? We had to delay a game. That, coming out of the locker, you know what you want to do. And it just, it was tough to watch at times, because I feel like we just rely back on the old plays that we're used to running week in and week out, and we don't really get outside of that per se.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from what I was told, they don't really, I know that certain other coaches that have been at Carolina would rep the same plays over and over and over and over again. There's a lot in practice of like reinventing the wheel too that happens. And then when you don't, Kurt Roper, when he was here, that was a criticism that some of the players and other coaches had. It's like, we practice all this stuff during the week and it's great. And you get the game and he just never gets called because of that comfort zone, like you said. Talking with Michael Flint, former Gamecock receiver, here on his Friday segment on Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Boots and waggles. That's something Keith keeps talking about, like boots and waggles. So I think you're right about that. I don't even know. Where is that? Where are the slants? Where are these teams can't just be like taking that away, because Carolina never runs it. So I'm not getting it. I'm not getting why that's not out there.
Yeah, I love the old concepts of boots and waggles. It's a lot of the same things that teams do, just different, newer age terminology. That's used with a lot of the younger guys. But it's 100% right. You've got to get the ball out of Spencer's hand quickly. He's not comfortable back there. It's like, it's kind of like the old Sam Darnold, thing of I'm seeing ghosts out there. It's, Rattler's got pressure coming from everywhere. And when a quarterback gets rattled and you start looking, your eyes are down at the line of scrimmage trying to see where the pressure's coming from, that's when you know things are not going to go well, because when you don't have your eyes consistently downfield, you can't see the defense. You can't see what they're doing. You can't see kind of the shifts they're making post-snap versus pre-snap. You see a coverage pre-snap, and then you see them kind of shift down. They could give you a cover 2 look, and then they shift down to a cover 3 or so, or some sort of man look. But you got to be able to keep your eyes downfield. And when pressure is coming from everywhere, and you start to try to see where the pressure is coming from rather than feel it, it's tough to get away from that. And that's, one thing coaches can do to get him out of that is get the ball out of his hands quickly, not just on balls behind the line of scrimmage, but quick game. Pressing the defense, make him think you're going downfield, get some slants, curls, hitches, something where he can take either get the ball, flip his feet and throw it, or take a 3-step drop, step up and throw the ball. And, anything within that 15 yards and less range. But, also getting him out the pocket, like I said earlier, whether it's bootleg or just, shift in the pocket of some sort. But, it's tough. And I think the rest of the year is going to be tough if we're not able to do that. But yeah, I mean, it's, getting him comfortable, and we just haven't been able to do that, at all this year. And it's been tough to watch because I know that kid has so much talent. You can see it. The ball just jumps out of his, out of his hand. I mean, he throws such a nice, easy catchable ball. And I feel like we're just underutilizing a lot of his strengths.
Yeah. And here's the thing. You can see Beamer, they ask him about the plays where, he throws it over to this horizontal pass to the receiver, and they do that a lot. And Beamer kind of interrupted I guess it may have been David Cloninger or somebody else, because he called them screen pass. They look like screens. He said they're not screens. They're these RPO type things they're running. I don't think that's the answer, because I think that puts a lot on Spencer mentally as well. I kind of like if you're going to run RPOs, I like it. I like them going downfield, because the whole purpose of RPOs is to put from what I've read. Now I know there's a lot of different types of RPOs these days, is to put the linebackers in conflict, and you're not putting the linebackers in anything if you're hitting it out of the perimeter. I mean, I think that's one tag on an RPO, but it seems like he needs other options besides that one if he's not going to hand it. And then, I mean, I would just scrap that entire thing, because I think that doesn't get him on the move. It doesn't get him comfortable, and it's just one more thing he has to think about out there. Your thoughts about the behind-the-line, non-screen RPO plays?
Yeah, no, I mean, when you continue to do that, you don't get the defensive backs on their heels. When a receiver is just automatically, his first step is just back, then that defensive back, you don't put any you don't put any stress or pressure on that defensive back, to start his back pedal. And when they can come forward, then, it makes it a little more difficult. You got guys out there that got to be really good blocking, depending on, how that defensive back is lined up. I haven't really looked to see if they were more press type coverage or if they were in off coverage. But either way, it doesn't feel like they've been in as much off coverage with those, but you're not putting any pressure on the defensive back, because in all theory, the same thing is happening with the quarterback. The quarterback's got to get the ball. He's got to get the snap. He's got to flip his feet, and he's got to throw it. And with the defensive back, just seeing the receiver either take a step back or just flip his hips, it's automatically the first thing the defensive back's doing is coming at him. And so when you get the ball, when that same thing with the quarterback, but you get a receiver, taking running a 3-step slant or a quick out from the slot, or, a curl, or, something, a hitch, it makes that defensive back start his back pedal and create that separation for the receiver, because the quarterback is doing the same thing. He's getting the ball, he's flipping his hips, and he's got to throw it on timing. And it just seems like the timing is not there. A lot of what we're doing, this timing of the drop just doesn't match up with what the receiver's doing. I often see our receivers kind of standing a little bit, rather than that ball coming out, the receiver turning and it's on him as soon as he makes that break. And so, I think, JC, you're 100% right in what we said. We got to get, the ball downfield more, in that, with the slants, the hitches, curls, out route, something just to put pressure on the defensive back to make them backpedal and kind of help create that separation for the receiver, rather than him just flipping his hips and waiting for the ball to get there, because it doesn't allow the receiver a lot of time or separation.
Well, Flint, this weekend the Gamecocks go to Vanderbilt. They've beaten Vanderbilt 13 times in a row, have not lost since 07. Pardon me, 08, up there on a Thursday night. We remember those. I remember all 4 losses they've taken to Vandy over the years. They've come in 2s, so it would be an ominous sign to lose this football game. I kind of think Carolina's going to win, but what's your final pick on this one, and how do you think this game's going to play out?
Yeah, I think South Carolina does win the game. I think we get back to some special team success. I think Coach Limbo is really good. He's really creative. He's got a really sharp mind when it comes to, creating mismatches and opportunities on special teams. We got to get back. I think, I really love, Clayton White and what he's done with that defense, with all the injuries, with a lot of these young guys stepping up, getting pressure on Vanderbilt's quarterback. I think with what Missouri did offensively and, kind of how they run the offense, it was a little tougher to kind of bring that consistent pressure based on, kind of their scheme with the quarterback in that zone read with the quarterback and getting outside the pocket. But, I think we get back to what we do defensively, creating turnovers. I think that's a big thing for us this week. But offensively, it's tough. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. You tend to think that we're going to do things differently the next week, but it just doesn't seem to happen. And so, I hate to even say that, but, I think it's just going to kind of be the same thing. We're going to have to create plays on special teams,
There we go. Yeah.
Back, man. It's always one time. It's the
almost made it.
Breaks it up.
Love it. Almost made it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, but no, creating those turnovers and putting the offense in plus field positions to where, at least get some points, whether it be field goal or touchdown. We just, we need that assist from special teams and defense. But I think we do win the game. I think it's not as high scoring as what we would like. We don't putting as many points on the board as we would want to. But I think, a 28-17 type game, I think is what we, could be looking at. But I do like the Gamecocks here. But, I think 28-17, 27-17, we'll see. But I do like the Gamecocks here. It's just, it was tough coming out of that Missouri game with what we had in front of us with a win. But I think we get back on track and, hopefully continue on an upward trajectory, staying positive.
Absolutely. Got to stay positive. Got to stay positive. All right, Michael. Well, you have a great weekend, man. And hopefully when we talk to you next week, we're going to be, breaking down a victory and talking about how, the Gamecocks can go to the swamp and get a victory. And Spurrier's printing up shirts now, by the way, because Mark Stoops became the winningest head coach in Kentucky. So Bear Bryant is no longer the other coach that's the all-time wins leader at 2 Power 5 schools. It's just Spurrier alone. And so he has this on his Gridiron Grill Facebook page. Like, shoot, I was fortunate to do this. And half of it says Gamecock, half of it says Florida. And it's 122 wins here for Florida and 86 for the Gamecocks. And he's like, let's see my Gamecocks come play my Gators. So I don't know. I bet if Florida was undefeated, he'd be taking sides. But they're struggling too. All right, Mike. Have a good weekend, man. We'll holler at you soon.
Hey, enjoy it as always, guys. Go Cox. We'll talk soon.
See you, buddy.
Go Cox.
Right. Michael Flint.
Love it. I was worried that the phone wasn't going to, screw up and lose the picture, but at the end, that
would have been unlucky, I think.
I think unlucky. So too. I would not. That would have been, a bit foreboding.
All right. I got to address one thing. I guess you can call this the IELP Consulting Mailbag. He was in the chat box and asked this the other day, and we had a guest. I didn't get back to it. Greg says, talk to me like I'm a child. Other than that one bowl game, what has Bell done? I want to understand. Well, I'll follow this up with, we remember the 87-yard touchdown he caught against Vandy last year. That was big time. He's never had a chance like he had in the bowl game. Because last year, Jaheim disappeared for long stretches. Just like, down the stretch, didn't do anything. Caught a touchdown against Florida. I mean, when he's been – I think that's what's so frustrating about it, Greg, is when he's been given the opportunity, he's absolutely produced. And then you can go and take it a step further and look at the fact that he's big, he's fast, he's got good hands, he's strong. I know he's had drops, but every receiver drops it every now and then. So that's the deal there. So I wanted to answer that about Bell because he's been asking, and that's why everybody under the sun thinks Jaheim Bell needs to touch it more. And I just hope that if it's the idea and the plan is running back, then maybe it's running back. But, I got some intel too that Jaheim probably isn't as good as they would want him to be at, knowing what to do and where to go on all these different plays. And to that, I say it's the job of the coach. It's your job as a coach. And I understand, like, if you're, let's say, Steve Spurrier or whatever, and you got a receiver that just cannot grasp the concept of option routes or whatever, because you can't do that. That's your whole offense. It depends on it. But this is not an offensive system that's done anything at any level at any time, going maybe back to Chattanooga, right, 10 years ago. Okay, so it's not like it's all predicated on this great system. The system is not good. It's not called well. There's too complicated. There's nothing special about the plays. There's nothing, the play design's fine, but that's it. So my feeling is, and when I read that Tennessee had only 5 plays, my blood started boiling because you know what? If Jaheim Bell hits the portal and goes to Tennessee, I'll tell you, all you people, the folks out there that think we haven't done anything since the bowl game, well, go look at the bowl game, multiply that, and that's what he's going to do in Tennessee's offense. And I don't have any inside info that he'll transfer there or whatever, but heck, I would if they wanted me. And then you play receiver in that system. So, so just wait and see. If people want to go put it back on Bell and say, well, who's not that good because he hadn't done anything. Well, hey, there's a lot of good players that like Juice Wells, really good player, right? Really good player. 8 catches, 189 yards, had 0 the next week. It's not that he's not good. And that's what I think people are frustrated with. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Last segment when we get back, final break. Thanks to Wando for coming in on a Friday. On Inside the Gamecocks, the show, back after these messages.
If you're looking to sell or buy multifamily property right here in South Carolina, the Burgesson team of RE/MAX at the Lake can help you get to closing fast and easy. Adam and Derek Burgesson both are very proud Gamecocks and are more than happy to assist you with any of your commercial real estate needs all across the state. You can email Adam at aburgesson@remax.net. That's ABERGESON at remax.net to get your next deal underway. The Burgesson team, proud sponsors of Inside the Gamecocks.
Attention golfers of all ages and skill sets. Former Gamecock golfer Meredith Taylor will be a full-time golf instructor in the Midlands of South Carolina very, very soon. You want to take advantage of this opportunity. If you're like me and you got to get a whole lot better at golf, or even if you're looking to refine your swing, Meredith is the person you need to go to. She's competing in her final USGA Mid-Amateur Tournament this summer before going full-time into teaching and coaching individuals. If you're in South Carolina, Meredith will be conducting in-person golf lessons at the Country Club of Lexington, half-hour, hour, on course. She'll play 9 or 18 with you. If you're out of state, though, this is really exciting. She'll be conducting virtual lessons. You can send in your swing for her expert analysis. Also, in November, she'll launch an online course with video instruction for all ages and skill levels. Meredith has 20-plus years of knowledge, former SEC golfer, all of that. So contact her on Twitter at MerTaylor, at MERTAYLOR, or go to McKellarEnterprises.org. McKellar spelled MCKELLAR, Enterprises.org. Her email's on the website, so you can connect with her for any other questions. Go get your golf game in order. Take advantage of Meredith Taylor and her services.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Hey, folks, JC here. I've told you about Nana's Porch over and over again. They sponsor our chat box on the show. Don't take my word for it, though. I wanted you to hear from Gamecock pitcher Noah Hall about our sponsor, Nana's Porch. nanasporch.com. Go there, food truck, catering, whatever you need. Take it away, Noah.
What's up, Gamecock fans? This is pitcher Noah Hall. If you want some delicious food for your event, I suggest visiting nanasporch.com today to find out what they all have to offer. It's really good Southern cuisine based out of Charlotte, my hometown. I hope you guys go check it out. Go Cox and go Nanas.
Hey, man, are you sick and tired of your business computer guy?
Yes, he takes forever to call me back and doesn't always respond to the requests.
Yeah, same here. I'm paying him good money. I constantly have issues, and I'm worried he's not backing up my network and securing it properly.
Oh, I feel that, man. My head hurts, but I have a good lead on a good idea. I'm calling your boy Matthew Odom today from Heritage Digital. Heritage Digital is an IT firm that specializes in making sure your IT network runs like a dream. If you have 1 or 500 employees, it doesn't matter. They do it all for one monthly fee and have clients from South Carolina all the way to California.
Yeah, I heard that monthly fee's low too, so I don't know why I didn't even think of that. Do you have 843-699-1001 as Matt's contact number?
Yeah, man, I sure do that. Or you can go to heritagedigital.com.
Man, I hear they do a no-cost assessment. Boy, this will help me.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm getting on that and encouraging everyone else to do the same. Heritage Digital, 843-699-1001 or heritagedigital.com, a proud sponsor of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
This is Braylon Wimmer, South Carolina Gamecock Baseball, and you are listening to Inside the Gamecocks, the show with JC and Phil. Go Cox!
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Second hour is brought to you by the Burgesson team at Remax at the Lake. Give Adam or Derek a call or shoot him an email at aburgesson, that's ABERGESON at remax.net. And just so everybody understands what it was that Tristan sent us while we were going through the I Help Consulting mailbag, here's a picture of not Sat's playbook.
Lloyd, Bell, Doty, or Joyner. I don't
know about Doty or Joyner. I don't think Spencer Rattler's the problem. I mean, I really don't. I don't think you can make any judgments on him. I hate it for Rattler that he's had to deal with this year because really you were thinking he's going to be, one transfer, get right, and then off to the league he goes. And I don't think he has helped his draft stock one iota. By having to be forced to run this offense.
It's like a rookie quarterback in the NFL. Lady Bree talks about he's locked on one receiver. That's not true. I don't even know how you can tell that from the tape. But I don't know that things are designed, that well with him. And I also think that sometimes when you were swimming mentally and you got 13-word play calls and 100 play playbook and you're shuffling plays in and out every week and not mastering the fundamentals, I think you're going to struggle. And, lady, I don't think that has much to do with how good or not good Spencer Rattler is. You're not evaluating him for the NFL. You're evaluating him for college ball. I mean, I don't know that a lot of quarterbacks out there, in his situation wouldn't struggle as well. I would like to see. He didn't have problems finding his secondary receiver at Oklahoma. I mean, I guess the criticism was he couldn't read a defense in his second year, but, their offensive line was struggling. I think they went with a guy that had some wheels. So, but regardless of that, Hendon Hooker is going to win the Heisman this year. Only has to read half the field. So, sometimes in college, you got to scale things back. You're not always going to have a guy that's, all over it and can make all these reads and stuff. So that was the deal there. And I'm not saying, look, if I felt like without the shadow of a doubt, if they put Luke Doty in the game, and he could, and they start zipping up and down the field, finding guys, I'd feel fine with it. I mean, I'd say, all right, make the, because, again, like I said, you can't sit there and worry about an offensive coordinator's playbook. You got to win games. You can't worry about the feelings of a quarterback. You've got to go win games.
Mm-hmm.
And, if Luke Doty were better and the better option, and let's say they do bench Spencer, they put Luke in, they go up and down the field, fine. Even if it's just him taking off and running. But you watched Luke last year too, confused. The only one that really wasn't was Jason Brown, and he just would run out of the pocket
and that's because
and sling it down the field. I mean, scramble play was his best play.
Yeah, even when he didn't need to, that was his.
Yeah, there's no coincidence that he played pretty well. And then, I think this offense found something in the bowl game. And it wasn't just because Joyner was playing quarterback. I thought the play calling and the balance and the ideas were, you're like, wow, because you're like finally using Bell the right way. You finally got Amarian Brown involved. You got Joyner at quarterback. That's good because Joyner at slot receiver could not get open. Okay. Mm-hmm. You got the run game got going. You had balance. You kept North Carolina off balance. That they've done none of that. And it's just game to game. You just, this team's gone from a 5-wide empty set look in the first two to something else to something. I mean, it's just awful. Krager says, what would Wells do in that Tennessee system? Shoe buddy, as JC says. Oh, Antoine Wells. He'd kill it. So that's the deal there. Lady Bree says half the field isn't one player. Look, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. I mean, it's just kind of funny. Those that are kind of like film guys and gals, they like to lean towards blaming the quarterback. And then everybody else says, oh, no, this system sucks. So I don't know. Jeff Fowler says he'd take Dak over Doty. There's just there's a small sample size for both.
You just don't know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's good there, right there. So that's
either way. I don't know. Win tomorrow, and we don't talk about it quite so much.
Yeah, I think if you're going to play DeCarry and Joyner, he needs to have a series.
Yeah, an entire series. You don't put him in for one play, because then we all know what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
But, then you put the threat of a running and throwing quarterback back there. I like the idea of having two running backs back there on a few plays with him. That way you have to account for three people who could run the ball. With one of them being, I guess, CBS, Bell, even if it's Juju, because at that point, if you're working the edge, right, is what that's generally designed to do. And that's, where Juju lives. I mean, that's where he does best, not between the tackles.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just been a bad thing.
Yeah.
This year. Quantrell says win tomorrow, get bowl eligible, then focus on getting an upset. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm. See there. So, all right, I got a trivia question for you.
Uh-huh.
First person to get this right in the Nana's Porch chat box gets the secondary prize pack. Little barbecue sauce, a magnet koozie, and barbecue rub, and signed baseball. So how about that? So that's the deal there. Okay. So South Carolina has lost to Vanderbilt 4 times all time. Right? So who was the coach that beat them the first time they lost to Vanderbilt ever? And that would have been in 1998. So Bobby Johnson got those last 2. So who was Vandy's coach in 1998 when they beat the Gamecocks? Dear, 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 dear. Dear, 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 dear. Da, 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 da.
No idea.
Nobody's buying. Come on, guys.
Look at that.
Talked about him earlier this week.
I was all stumped. I can't even remember what you said. I can't.
Zach says I said before the season we'd be 7-5. Easy E says, when did Dak Prescott join the team? Yeah, that's right about that. I meant to mention that. I don't, John's such a great big slamma jamma won it again.
Yeah, Wiedenhofer. That's right.
Woody Wiedenhofer, baby. Yeah, okay. Woody Wiedenhofer got that win. Yeah, because Jafaller's a really good poster and stuff like that. But yeah, Dak's DK. He doesn't. He said something to somebody about, because a lot of people were calling him Dak, and I think another podcast, Keith or somebody probably started calling him Dak. So I try to stay away from until it gets official, like Juice Wells. I don't try to get there and try to call them by their nickname, because it's DK or Decarion, which is fine. I mean, I understand that, but yeah, you're right about that, Evan. Quantrell says Watson Brown. That's a good guess. John says DiNardo. I think DiNardo may have been – no, DiNardo would already go – so Wiedenhofer coached for DiNardo. And so DiNardo was already at LSU, and Wiedenhofer got promoted from within. And so I think Woody Wiedenhofer won both of those, 98 and that epic 11-10 battle in 1999. That may be one of the worst Carolina football games I've ever seen. Safeties and such. Yeah, Wiedenhofer was in his third year. That year Vandy came to town and won 11-10. Vandy was pretty good on defense that year. They played Florida, lost 13-6 at the Swamp. Shoot, Vanderbilt came and shut us down, man. Shut us down. But anyway, so that's it.
Well, the good thing is we've already got Big Slamma Jamma's mailing address, unless it's changed, and then you need to send me a new email.
Yeah, and make sure you put your real name, because I couldn't put Big Slamma Jamma on there on the pack. I went to mail it, and I was like, I got his address, but be sure you put your name, and we'll get you that prize pack out. And thanks for playing. All right, Phil, I'm gonna give you my prediction.
Yeah, what you got, JC?
This is gonna sound a little weird, but I really respect, like, and admire what Vanderbilt's done on offense this year with their two quarterbacks. They got a good running back. They got two really fast, good receivers. I also think South Carolina has an advantage on both lines of scrimmage. Vanderbilt's not good on defense. I think South Carolina special teams could maybe make a play, maybe not. I don't think they're going to need it. I think the Gamecocks are going to win 31-21, and it's going to go over the 47. And I'll tell you why. I think you're fighting some recent – when people talk about the under – and look, the boys in Vegas know what the heck they're doing. Don't get me wrong. But when you're talking about the under for this game, I think you're fighting two things. First of all, if you're a Gamecock fan, you're fighting the old school Vanderbilt. We're really full of piss and vinegar on defense, but we can't move the ball past the 50. It's kind of reversed this year. Kind of sort of like Kentucky wasn't that good on the offensive line. We don't think about that. So I think against the worst defense of the league, Carolina's got enough athletes to make enough big plays just by making them to put points on the board. I think they'll force some turnovers. The A.J. Swan kid against Missouri under pressure really struggled. I think he was 13 for 30. They like to throw it a whole lot more than they used to. I think they're going to be a really legit offense here in a couple of years. I just think they may be a little ways away. Defensively, they have given up points, but they played, with the exception of Bama and Georgia and Missouri, who are three of the best. Probably maybe that may be the three best defenses in the SEC, Phil.
Yeah, it might.
Just to be straight with you, those may be the three best. They've played higher scoring games. Ole Miss was higher scoring. Elon was higher scoring. Wake was higher scoring. So your concern if you're the Gamecocks is these guys are good on offense unless they're playing just a team that overwhelms them. So you got to put points on the board, and I think they have to know that as flawed and weird as last week was, this is not the Missouri defense that's given you. If there's a new offensive coordinator next year, he can worry about how to solve that next year because you don't have to play Missouri again for a while. This is Vanderbilt, and I think Last year the offense bogged down in the middle of it, but what happened in that game, Phil? Luke Doty re-injured his foot. They had turnovers. It was just a mess, and I think this year the offense has played better than it hasn't been the dumpster fire that last year was. It was a dumpster fire against Missouri without question. Dumpster fire against a lot of teams, but they are a little better. They do have some more firepower. I think it's almost one of those things where it may be good that Lloyd's not playing because Vandy can't just sit there and go, well, we're going to make Lloyd beat us, or we're not going to let Lloyd beat us. I think Missouri said the same thing, though. Lloyd is running around them, so who cares? But, if Lloyd is out, and I in my gut, I think I'm skeptical.
I don't see that happening. Yeah,
skeptical. But I think that it almost forces Satterfield or whoever else, the different players, to kind of step up and not rely so much on that one guy, and they'll have to figure it out. Sometimes when you throw somebody into the water to go swimming, that's the best way to teach you to learn how to swim. That's how my dad did that to my brother Jason. Unfortunately, Jason sank to the bottom, and Dad went, "Oh God!" and had to dive in. And my brother Jason, the pilot, never getting a plane with him ever.
Never.
If you get on the air and he's like, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain Sherbert. This is your captain speaking. We'll be flight time over to Nashville. Get me off." I have a religious. Reason why I can't fly today. Please get me off. I have a religious protest.
Shomer Shabbos.
Shomer Shabbos. Touchdown, Carolina. Touchdown, Cletus McDowell. Shomer Shabbos. Cletus McDowell. Like from Coming to America. Touchdown, Cletus McDowell.
Over the
line. Doc predicts 21-14 Gamecocks, says they're going to win and go bowling. And Chris says playing Joyner would be the best thing to happen to Satterfield because he'd be forced to simplify. Will he?
Remember, it's about the plays, not the players.
Oh, yeah, plays. Clint says he was 2 minutes behind on the trivia question. Dang it. I would have gotten that one in 3 seconds. Daniel says, I think this team's offensive player ability made it able to win 9, but Sad has made us into a hopeful 6-win team. Yeah. I can't disagree, man.
I can't either. Otherwise.
Now, with better play calls, would they have beaten Arkansas out there? I don't know, because you sit there and go, well, they couldn't stop them, so they got 44. The Gamecocks got 30, and Gamecocks did a good job of attacking their prevent defense, right?
Right.
But the bottom line is Arkansas has proven to not be very good on offense, especially in the passing game. Or on defense, especially the passing game. I don't know if the Gamecocks don't go out there and get behind 21-3 and make it impossible. They're not in the game till the end and could win it. So that could have been a win. Georgia, obviously, with the way they played, that was a tough call. But you don't, look at Missouri and how they played Georgia. I mean, they ended up establishing things, had some good things happen early, whatever. So I'm going to say they probably would not have beaten Georgia. I think they would have beaten Missouri, though. They could have been 7-2 or 8-1 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and like I told somebody the other day, think about this. If you're a college football team, college football teams very rarely are great on special teams, opportunistic to good on defense, and then have a really good offense. Okay. It just doesn't work that way most of the time. If South Carolina can continue to do the work they're doing on special teams, this is moving forward after this year. Keep the defense solid. And then, because South Carolina should always – there's going to be years where they're young on defense, not maybe missing some parts, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'll say this, South Carolina historically has shown the ability – because think back even like 08 ended badly. That was Ellis Johnson's first year. But during the year, I mean, they were good enough to hold Georgia to 14 and some things like that. South Carolina's shown the ability to string together 4, 5, 6 good years of defense around here. Yeah, you just got to recruit those D linemen, keep developing them, fill it, and have a good scheme. And this program can be solid and consistent on defense. Offense has been a different matter, but then you have the special teams factor. So if you can somehow find a way to reinvent everything on offense, right? Coming into next year and have a good year, teams that are good in all three phases are very hard to beat. I'm not predicting championships, but I think the narrative around Shane Beamer and this entire program will start changing, because right now everybody really loves the job he's done. They love recruiting. They love the defensive job that they've done at time, but most of the time they love the special teams, the Beamer ball aspect of it. But there's always a but. And with this fan base, it is a but. It's a big but. Big old but. Because they've just seen so much bad offense. I mean, the best play caller they've had here since Spurrier left was Mike Bobo. And Mike Bobo basically had 3 players. Now, let's go back and look at the Mike Bobo offense in 2020, man. Everybody in the stadium knew they had to get it to Shi Smith if they weren't going to be able to pass the ball. You had a very limited quarterback in Colin Hill, to say the least. And Shi caught how many passes that year? 40-something, at least.
Not to mention you produced the number 1 running back in the conference that year.
Yeah, and played every game was an SEC game, 10 SEC games. So I kind of – the numbers were ugly. And certainly they had some games where they, like against A&M, they couldn't get the run going, et cetera. But, man, it's going to be good. Big Slam of Janice says, give the package to Clint. My stuff will get stolen. And Saunders says, I wonder how the narrative will change if we win in Nashville and Gainesville. I don't think the offensive thing is going to change. I think everybody's seen enough. I mean, look. You go out there and hang half 100 all of a sudden on Vandy and half 100 on Florida, and then you go outscore Tennessee and score 50. It was like 52-49. And then you beat Clemson. The narrative will probably change.
I'd still fire him in the parking lot of Memorial Stadium. I'd still. Because at that point, the question is, was it going to take us 8 freaking games a year, to get it to look good?
Well, even last year you thought, well, this is what they've been talking about. They have to learn the system and get down. And then so they go and they beat Florida, put 40 on Florida. Mm-hmm. It still wasn't a great offensive game. They got 3 offensive touchdowns, a defensive touchdown, and they kicked 4 freaking field goals.
Right.
But, then they go to Missouri and do what they did and lay an egg. Well, then they come back against Auburn after getting in a hole, which that Auburn game, the Missouri game, I thought when they got down, I was like, well, this is going to be just like the Auburn game. Not only the Auburn-South Carolina game, but the Missouri-Auburn game, And Carolina just never got back. I mean, they never woke up, right, or never got it going. And so then Clemson embarrasses them, and everybody's, like, embarrassed by that. And, because that was a Clemson team that wasn't the best, wasn't a national championship contender. And it's still the same game we've all watched the last 3 times. And so then you go to the bowl, and it looks nice and creative and a nice move and all that. But, you still sort of got the sense, like, once that first half was over and they're kind of out of bullets in the chamber, and DeCarrion played great the entire game. I mean, he was stellar. They made plays when they had to. But you still look back on it, and we all kind of, I think, because of the long passes early to Jaheim, kind of got caught up in fool's gold, because that was yet another game where the other team literally could not stop Carolina from running the ball.
Yeah.
And it's just not realistic to think you're going to line up and run it on everybody. In this league, teams are too good on defense. So anyway, I'm out. I said 31-21 Gamecocks. Phil, what's your pick?
I'm going with 27-17 is where I finally settled on. I think we do hold them a little bit. We kind of figure it out. It wouldn't surprise me if they scored a couple of touchdowns in the first half. We adjust, and they don't get anything but a field goal in the second. I think we see a little bit of some special teams magic, maybe not necessarily touchdowns or anything, but big returns, because I feel like those are coming. Obviously, I mean, we saw Van had a big one called back for a penalty last week that would have really helped us, I think. But I think we get it done. I don't think it's going to be a stellar showing, but I'm not too far off from where you are, JC.
Yeah, I think Tony Morrell actually picked 27-17 today, and I guess Wando was somewhere between 27 and 28-17.
Yeah, that's right around there. Yeah, when he said that, I was like, damn, that's what I was going to pick.
Doc Graybeard, great show, clowns. Thanks.
Close the refrigerator.
It's been a week. I think I got up too early this morning. I just haven't had that internal energy that I normally have. But anyway, I'm getting off. I'm take a
It
break.
came across well, man. Don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. It was good. Good show today.
All right. Happy Friday, everyone. For those of you that are not yet in Nashville, but heading there, have a safe trip. Enjoy the Music City. Enjoy the game Saturday night. For Phil Mullinax, this is JC Sherbert. We appreciate all you cast of characters joining us every day. We'll be back Monday to hopefully talk about a victory right here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show.